Hello. Hello, hello. Just checking my backup back here. Um, give a couple minutes, let all of our friends know that we are here. We have a surprise extra day of going live for all of our friends. Hopefully, Maria can join us here soon. But Greg, it's been a minute since we've been able to get you to join
Yes.
us. You're a very busy guy.
Yeah, I am getting busier. It's a good problem to have, but it's always fun when we can chat. I mean, God, you and I have known each other. I was thinking about this earlier today. What, about 14 years, I think.
Yeah, it's been a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, yeah. But no, always enjoy it. And from my standpoint, always willing to help, give input into whatever.
Right, right. Um, let's see, get our stuff updated. Here we go, because sometimes some of these don't work right away. Um, let's see. Now, Greg, we get to hang out with you a little bit tomorrow.
Yes.
Um,
I'm at the shop reading in the afternoon, and then we have an event tomorrow evening in Sandusky.
we do. We sure do. Um, so not only are you reading in shop, but then you will be um, performing a seance
Mm-hmm.
out at Rhodes Marketplace. So that'll be great.
Yeah, Sandusky. If anyone gets a chance to be out there too, very interesting location. Very interesting location. Picked
Yeah.
up on a couple of things and we were able to get some validation. I've been there twice before. Tomorrow will be the third time, but very good location. Interesting, active. Let's put it that way.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now, um, so here we have you back, ready to talk with us. So I guess I should do our intro first, right? Just to
Of
get that,
course.
you know, ready to go. Um, well, hello everybody, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Healer's Corner. And tonight we have Gregory Nicholas back with us. Now we have a sensitive topic tonight, pretty heavy, and right off the bat, thank you, Greg, for coming and sharing with
Sure.
us. But tonight's topic is healing after sexual abuse. And, Greg, we were talking a little bit before we, started recording about how personal you really wanted to get into your
Right.
experience.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so no names will be mentioned, but
Right. Right.
if you would like to maybe jump in wherever you're comfortable, because this is your experience and how you have been able to go through periods of healing and
Right.
coming out on the other side after this.
Yeah, and Melissa, I like the way you just said periods of healing. I'm 63. It happened when I was 7. It was a family member. Um, I won't get into details, of course. I was 7, a lot of groping, things like that, thought I was asleep. Um, and by family member, I let me express this to not immediate family, okay? I'm not even talking uncle, anything like that. It was from a male, and not uncle. I don't want to give that impression at all. It was from someone else who was, there's Maria,
Sorry.
and um, who was thought I was asleep and started, I'm not sure the right words to use here, ladies, but groping, whatever. And I remember being absolutely petrified um, as to what was going on. Um, and I remember one evening it went on 3 or 4 times sporadically. Thought I was asleep, would creep in, things like that. And again, being then, I remember just being speechless, okay, um, petrified, whatever. And then it quit. The next morning, acted like nothing was wrong, okay. It was one of these events where his parents and my parents were were very, very close. They would travel to our home, spend the night. They would parents would be visiting the whole bit. Not everything was fine, and then he literally creep in middle of the night and I don't know what the right word is, too, accost, whatever. Nothing like, I don't know what the right word is, too. And I remember being scared. Well, the next morning I didn't say anything. I remember him looking at me. And then as soon as they left to return to where they were, about an hour's drive away, I did tell my parents. And they were extremely supportive and extremely angry at this person. Okay. They jumped right on it. I mean, there was no, are you sure, making it up, the whole bit. And I can still remember dad grabbed me and put me on his lap. And just to reassure there was no blame or anything like that. And it was very reassuring. Again, I was scared to death, but my parents were right there for me. They got on the phone and told his parents about it. Um, Unbeknownst to me at the time, this person had a criminal record, not of sexual abuse or things like that, but of staging a theft in his own parents' house. Okay, actually stole things, put it on the curb, drugs, the whole bit. Um, Years went by before I saw this person again. Come to find out, he had even stolen from my grandmother, his grandmother, if that gives any clue. Um, he ended up in jail. I would have to see him as we got older from time to time at family events. Hey, how are you? Always kept my distance, never made a scene, but because by then, mom and dad were very supportive, as were his parents, I should say, too. Never any questioned, liar, nothing like that. I was extremely fortunate that everyone was there for me. Believe me, I think it's because they knew he had such a record. And it was about 20 years ago. Yeah, 20 years ago, maybe not even that. He died. I remember someone calling me, are you going to his funeral? No, I will not. Okay. Now, granted, there are only 4 or 5 people in the world who knew what went on. 6 today, if you include my wife. Um, but again, going through the trauma, the guilt, some therapy involved over the years, I will admit that. But what really helped me is the support of the family. Being there, not you're making it up, whatever. They did ask what happened in detail, and I told them. I remember telling them. That's when I was sitting on Dad's lap, and Mom, I can still see the tears in my mother's eyes. When she would, I told them about it, but it was okay. And again, there was just never anything about doubt or whatever. Now, was there ever any other attempt? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Okay, because by then this other person, he had his criminal record. God, he ended up in jail 2 or 3 times for other things as well.
Were
So
there were there other family members that he assaulted? Like, and was it kind of known that he may have this behavior, and why his own parents weren't really surprised by this?
that's a good question. To my knowledge, even to this day, Melissa, I don't think so. Here's the thing: I was the only male. Okay,
Mhm.
he was. There's about a 12, 13-year age difference between the two of us. Yeah, I was 7, so he was almost 20. Um, no other ones because by then, and in my family, I was the young one. He was the next closest. Even my own brother is older than that. Um, no other to my knowledge, no other issue of physical abuse. Now, theft, like I said, it was found out he did try and steal from my grandmother. Shoot, in fact, he did steal from her. I guess he took a couple $100 from her purse. He staged um, like I said, a robbery at his own parents' house, but no other issue of sexual assault, abuse, whatever. I did find out later, before his parents died, that he did admit it. He did admit doing it. Now, he never admitted it to me. And I don't even know if I would have wanted to talk about it, to be honest with you. The weird part is the older I get, the more flashbacks I get over time, and it wasn't at the time, maybe because I was a kid and my parents, like I said, ladies, were right on it. Very supportive. I cannot say one iota. I had no trouble. And even his parents, I remember his mother, the one time pulled me aside and, wanted to make sure I was okay. His father had a drinking problem, but by this time had quit drinking, and even wanted to know, okay, made every effort to be nice to me, take me fishing and things like that. And but there was never any backlash or anything. Um, like I said, he ended up in jail, but nothing to my knowledge was there ever any physical. His stuff was all theft, drug related, things like that. If there was any other incident, I don't know. But what really helped me, and Maria, this is, oh, Melissa too, with the healing, everything from the Reiki that I received over the years, things like that. Literally, ladies, too, and we've talked about this before, cutting cords. Many times I had to cut cords
Mhm.
between him and I many
Mhm.
times. And it's usually when you have, and I don't want to downplay this, like a PTSD flashback, something like that, if that makes any sense. And me doing this knew to, okay, deep breath, there's my psychic sword, cut the cords, don't let it bother me. But every
Did
now and then it still does.
did you find for a period of time afterwards that you had a distrust of any males like in that age range just because of what happened?
Yes. Uh, and you know what, Melissa, to your point, and this is going to sound weird. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea. To this day, I still do.
Mm.
Of that age, yeah. And it wasn't all males, like it was never my father, never my brother, any of the uncles, nothing like that, nothing like that. But just that one age group. And to this day, I still do. I catch myself thinking, are you really who you say you are?
Mm.
It still happens too. Now, not as severe, of course, 40 some years ago. But
Hmm.
yeah, there is still a mistrust, but I still have to cut the cords. And many times doing the work we do, when you hear about things like that, whether it be male or female, I still find myself getting choked up. And every now and then I will tell someone that I had been through it as well. It is out there in my book. If either of you ladies have read the book, it is in it.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I read it, and
Yeah,
and that was it was very surprising to me when I got to that
yeah.
point in that chapter.
It's something I didn't let out, neither did the family. And even to your point, Maria, there were still family members at the time who were alive when they read it, had no clue.
Mhm.
We kept it at home, mom and dad, me, his parents, we were fine. It wasn't like, ooh, don't bring it up, you'll get a spanking, nothing like that. You just didn't talk about it because it was handled and handled properly. I do have, there's some cousins out there now who just actually recently found out about it and feel bad because they were little girls. I don't think they had anything to worry about, but they feel bad too.
Mm.
So, but in fact, the one thing, guys, and Maria, I don't, mother's been gone 15 years. She died, Melissa,
Mhm.
right before we met. One of the last things right before she died is she did she apologized once more for, and she said his name, his behavior. So over the years, it was bothering her more than me. And that happened
Mhm.
about 2 days before she died in
Mm.
September of 2010.
Now, not to joke lately on your age, Greg,
Of course.
but
Yeah.
given that this was like 40 some odd years ago, right? Um,
Hmm.
Therapy wasn't as easily accepted as it is now.
Right.
Mhm.
Did your parents explore any sort of therapy help to help you get through and to work through the emotions and the flashbacks as they may have been coming, or the idea that you have may run into that family member at like a family function?
Yes. Well, yes and no. Let me explain. And to your point, Melissa, you're absolutely right. I was from a very small town, okay, in Pennsylvania, very small town too. And I remember they made up some excuse, but I wasn't that stupid to go to the family doctor, okay? And just I remember him talking to me, "Were you okay?" Mom and dad were both in the room. Are you okay? Hey, what happened? I hear, something went on. And that was it. That was the extent of it. To be honest with you, I don't know if there was any mental health therapy available. I just don't know.
Mm.
If it was needed, do I feel they would have done something? Yeah, or at least the family doctor. Shoot, this doctor delivered. There wasn't a baby doctor at the time. He was a GP. Delivered me, my brother, everybody. He did everything from babies to gallbladders.
So he
So
was a
he
very
would
good
have been on
doctor.
it too. Yeah, yeah. He often said to me, and afterwards, he looked at me like his son over the years. So if something was needed, I think he would have been there, but you didn't have the awareness or the therapy the way you do today.
Now you mentioned that you have gotten therapy through the years. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what was your aha moment that you're like, I need help in processing this rather than
Uh,
to do it myself or stuff it in a box?
in my later 20s, when I first got into my career in human resources, okay, and seeing, because part of my job was employee assistance program, and that included not only on the job issues, harassment, inappropriate behavior, but family issues, some sort of addiction. That was my aha moment. To that, if I'm there to help those people, and ladies, we've all said this myself, heal or heal thyself first.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. And I was able, that was my moment to talk because it was a free service to me where I worked,
Mhm.
to get the help I needed, whatever. And it was, a couple of sessions just talking through it. But there was no major breakdown or anything like that. So I did take it upon myself later as part of my work benefit to see through it.
Now, when were you comfortable to share that with your wife?
Oh, when that's a good question because we've been married 17 years. Before we got engaged, probably about a month or two before I knew, she didn't know we were going to get engaged. I did. I told her that as well, and both of you guys have met her.
Mhm.
um Very like what, and I can remember her crying and everything. She had the questions like everyone else did. How did you do? What did you handle it? She knew mom. She never met dad because dad died in 97, so she never met him. And she knows my brother, of course. How did you handle it? And that one time, this happened just recently, a couple years ago. We were all together. It was me, my wife, my brother, and his wife, and we were just sitting around talking and brought it up. And to this day, my brother gets very, very angry at that person, very angry at him. And actually, I was calmer than those three. I think my brother feels bad because he's big brother, 13 years older than me,
Mhm. Mhm.
and couldn't be there to protect because he always looked at me as my protector.
Well, I mean, just, being a mom, and I'm sure Maria, you're the same way, just the idea of
Yeah.
our son and Maria or daughter having
Mhm.
to experience that and go through that, it's like the instant rage.
Mhm.
Oh, Melissa, good point. Rage/tears. I can still to this day see the tears, the anger and tears on mom more so than dad, rage more with him as well. But then again, and my father was a no nonsense gentleman, picked me up and put me on his lap. You know, they did not downplay it, knew the gravity of it. And, at that time, too, guys, they didn't know what was going to happen to me,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happened, but they did not blow it off. And I want to stress how fortunate I am. And no, I am, was, whatever to it as well. But they did not downplay it or make it up, or know I made it up or anything because it was admitted. And the big thing, too, was this person's parents were right there too.
Mm. Now, what advice would you have for anybody in your position that maybe did not have the supportive family members around them who, are like, are you
Yeah.
sure you're blowing that out of the water? It wasn't as bad as what you're saying it was. Like, what is your advice
Yeah.
for them to get their own healing, going in a more forward direction with that
Well,
type of energy around them.
two different things, Melissa. Good question, too. Right now, in this day and age, there's all kinds of services out there, free, whatever. Here's the thing, that if you're over 18, you're an adult, you can do it.
Mhm.
I don't know what to tell you about a child who realizes it. I was 7.
Mhm.
How does a child of 7 get help if the parents are not believing it, or for heaven's sake want to say, oh, you're making it up or whatever? I don't know what to do there. But someone, when they're older and as an adult, please get help, talk through it. And again, it depends on the severity of what went on too. And I know there are various levels, I understand that, but don't think you have to go through it by yourself either. I was fortunate. I had the love and support. I know I still do with my brother and wife. I know it. It's there.
Mhm.
But go get the help you can if you're older. The one thing now is, like I said, there are so many free services. Shoot, there are 800 numbers now. Aren't there hotlines out there? The internet is full of places you can go for help.
I would like to think, so like if a younger person is listening to this, or watching,
Yeah.
that school counselors, trusted
Ah,
teachers,
mhm.
school nurses, even your doctor, if you're going in because you got a head cold or strep throat or something,
Yeah,
like say something, um, to one of those adults, like
good
that's
point.
what they're there
Yeah,
for. And
yeah.
I'm probably going to say this wrong because I don't know what the legal terminology, but I do believe schools, principals, nurses, doctors have to report anything that they suspect
Yeah.
or are told.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But to your point too, ladies, I had no marks. Okay, there were no, how do I say this? No physical marks of restraint or anything like that. No bruising or anything.
mhm,
It was just me speaking up and them knowing that, uh, no doubt. And then what helped too was that individual's admission
mhm,
down the road. But yeah, I mean, and to anyone listening, you need to, don't cover up for them. And I understand there are various levels. There can be threats and everything made. I fully understand that. In my situation, it was, we lived so far apart, over an hour, there was never any threat of that. No, if you say anything, I'm going to hurt you or anything like that. Never. I did not have that complication.
mhm,
And that can be a whole nother factor right now in this whole thing too. But to your point, school counselors, whatever, um, once they're older, it's easy to say brush it aside and be ashamed. That goes with it. That goes with it too. To this day, it goes
Mm-hmm.
with it. Every now and then, what did I do? Shoot, nothing. I was laying there asleep,
right.
you
Mm-hmm.
know? But it's none of these things where you deserve or anything like that. And but please get help if you can. And if your parents or family don't believe you or whatever, I don't know what to say. Just try and find the recourse you need, because the big thing is, and people have heard this before, you don't have to go through it alone.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I would
You know?
even say, Maria, maybe you as well. You get to know your children's friends.
Ah,
And that mom instinct even kicks in for your children's friends. Like you'll know when something's not quite right. And so maybe that's also kind of maybe a duty, a parental duty, mom or dad. Like if you're
mhm.
noticing something's not quite right with the friend that's coming over and maybe they're wanting to stay over way more than going home. Why?
Oh, yeah,
Why?
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe that's another adult that can help you if you're younger is the parents of like your best friends or something.
Yeah. But you know what, then too, there's always the trust factor here, guys, too. Regardless of age. You know, my parents, I'll say it again, were always extremely supportive of me, whatever. I was very fortunate, and I know that too. But older, what if they're threatening you? Oh, you made that up. And what if it happens again and again? You know, you have the head games going on
Hmm.
that,
Yeah.
you know, they're not going to believe me. Why do I go about it too? Do you have to talk to a school counselor
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
or someone else you can trust, you know, too? But what helped too, now me later in life, guys, is the Reiki, you know, the treatments, the energy work. It really did, you know, and to this day, cut the cords. I cut the cords not only because of that situation, but in between my readings as well,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
Do you find that you may, and this is going to be a level of perception, right? Because I'm sure you don't ask all your other reader friends how many, but do
Right.
you find at times that you will get an influx of clients who have had a similar type of experience that are
Yes.
coming in?
Yes. And it has come out, good question, Melissa, ever since the book is out, these couple of years, and just that one or two line sentence in it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. How did you handle it? Where did even some things? Where did you find the strength? You know, I told him the same thing I told you. I was very fortunate that my parents were there as
Mhm.
well and believed me. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they do. And sometimes during a reading, I'll feel it. Not what happened to me, but with them. This is the empath. I'll feel it. I will not come right out and say it exactly because having lived through it, it's a difficult subject. But I'll say, was there some sort of physical issue that you had survived with to your favor? You know, and many times they say yes. If they say no, I don't push it because that's a personal thing. They don't know me, you
Mhm.
know. But the ones who do, you know, I do encourage them for help, whether it's something as simple as a hotline, you
Mhm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, the healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It, you know, every now and then, to your point too, Melissa, that individual will creep into a dream. In fact, one night, a couple years ago, after he died, my wife woke me up because I was yelling his name. I was calling him a few names too, I guess, in my sleep.
I mean,
But
I,
you ladies know me, so you know how I can be.
I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you have every right to call him all sorts of
Yeah,
names.
yeah. But then again, it's okay. Now, is it something that bothers me on a daily basis? No. But just talking about it helps. And again, the Reiki, the energy work. Maria, you do a lot of therapy. Melissa, you're a shaman, so you can help alleviate that too. It's almost like a PTSD, but I tell you one thing that still clicks on me too is if any movie that just comes on, if there's any sort of accosting, abuse like that, a physical nature like a sexual thing, I find myself just doing a quick turn like that. And even my wife will catch me with that too. So do we learn how to cope with it? Yeah. Does it ever go away? At least from my standpoint, no, it doesn't.
Mm-mm.
You
Mm-mm.
know, it doesn't. Hmm. And I know there are various levels, and you know, there is no restraint, marks, hand, nothing like that too.
Mhm.
But it's just you learn how to handle it and know that there is help out there. And I'll tell you what, when we put it in the book, back and forth on that too. My wife was encouraging the writer, the author who wrote the book was very encouraging. I was on the fence because I didn't know at the time it was just something that that I wanted to make private. Getting that I was more and more public,
Mhm.
um, more that I wanted to put it out there. But then I realized too the proverbial, well, if by me saying that can help a couple of people come forth and maybe learn how to handle it, then absolutely it's worth it.
Mhm.
You know, and a couple
Mm-hmm.
of guys too have actually come up to me wherever I've been and have read it and have said something that something has happened too. But here's the interesting part: not just with from there being a male from another male, but them being a male from a female when they were younger.
I think that's an often forgot about,
Mm-hmm.
overlooked.
Yeah,
not.
It's still, yes, Melissa, and to your point, it's still, in my opinion, and I'm not a therapist, it's still a form of abuse, assault, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
unwilling. People think if it's between men and women or it's consensual. No, it's not. If you're that young or whatever, no, it's still, without using a certain word, it's still inappropriate. How's that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what type of um, like energetic work was the first that you used or attempted, be it on
Oh,
yourself or had somebody else do for you to help with?
Reiki. Oh, God. Good question. Probably about 63, 28 years ago when I first learned about Reiki. Another metaphysical shop somewhere else went in. Good relationship in the energy work. And we got along really well, her and I, and she did it. And this lady was so intuitive. She did pick up, she said, you had an incident happen in your childhood. She didn't come out and say it. And I said, yeah. And that was the first thing, the Reiki helping you cut it. And I remember the proverbial lady's healing crisis,
Mm.
okay, that you feel letting it go, cutting it loose. But the first sign of anything like that was the Reiki years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah,
Now, did that feel like a slow band-aid removal or more of a traumatic, almost again, reopening that wound by, you know,
that. Yes,
okay.
because it was unexpected. Reiki, and again, I knew something about it. I didn't know a whole lot because by then, I was reading, but I didn't know a whole lot about Reiki. But when that happened, it's like the Band-Aid coming off too. It's like, okay, weren't ready for that, but it obviously needed to let go.
Mhm.
I didn't fill her in on everything. Kind of embarrassing. I don't know you that well. There are certain things you don't discuss, even, 20 some years ago. But
Mhm.
now the Band-Aid, but then again, you do feel better afterwards. But again, I'm always fortunate. No one ever called me a liar. You make it up. None of the other sayings that people can come up with out there.
Right. Maria, do you have questions for Greg? I feel like I'm hogging all of the great interview time.
Well, Maria, let me ask you something.
Sure.
You and I have known each other many years now. Not as long as
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, but many years. When we first met, didn't you pick up on something?
Yes.
I know. I remember
Yes.
that. Hmm.
Yes. I did not know how to say anything to you, but I
Right.
also know that it wasn't as heavy. The energy wasn't as heavy. Probably when you were younger, it was much more heavy because you were
Hmm.
working and processing it through.
Yeah.
But it was still a lingering in there. But I
Hmm.
did not know how to approach because we just got to know each other. I didn't know how to spill this and say, "Hey, look, did this happen
Yeah.
to you?"
Yeah. And you don't. And I get it. But, and this is something too, guys, all of us doing what we do, and we all do similar things too. A lot of times you can spot it on people. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, you can spot it. Now, me seeing the auras, I can see it. Melissa, I know you pick up on things. Maria, you're intuitive in your own right with what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the healing is still there and it's an ongoing thing. Like I said, a lot of times you have to cut the cords, especially if you're out somewhere and you see somebody, and it's really rough if there's a client and they don't have the best intentions, and not directed towards me, but someone else. I find myself armoring up, bubbling up even more, putting the mirrors up just to keep them away. And you feel sorry for someone, even whether males or females.
You also would pick up like a quality of that person's in someone else's energy field.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why that a person in that certain age range,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not all of them, it's just a certain ones that you pick up and you don't want anything to do with that energy field.
No, no,
Yeah.
not at all. And a lot too with me, to your point, And maybe because I was a kid when it happened, I can pick up on that more around children. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
more around children. Things like that. Um, and to this day, you don't know how to address it. Now, if the parents say something, will I talk about it? Absolutely, with the parent. But I'm not going to. We're not therapists, The
Mm-hmm.
child, do they need help or whatever, too? But the part that really bothers me is, and all three of us, we can pick up on things like this around people, and the parents or someone else is sitting there saying, "Oh, it's not true. They're just making it up. They have a vivid imagination." Well, first
Yeah.
of all, yeah, that's scarring that child, that person, and then two, you as the adult, how are you lying to yourself?
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
very much so.
There was a person that I had dated who had a small child who I had strong suspicions, but I couldn't prove. I couldn't like serve it up on a platter, but I
Yeah.
would make comments about like, gee, that's awful weird that the little one is doing this, or that the little one is saying this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that is not normal for that age.
Yeah.
And this was a little person whose parents were no longer together. One was in a
Mm-hmm.
different relationship. I was kind of dating the other one, and I'm just like, oh my god, how? Because then too, me as that outside kind, like, what right do I have to say other than trying to stand up for the child? But I don't have
Yeah.
any parental right to force anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I, other than quick, like, pick up in a parking lot and take, like, I have no interaction with, and
Yeah.
it was very frustrating. But I would say things to, the parent that I knew, and even those grandparents, like, hey, when little bit is over here, have you noticed?
Yeah.
And I am no longer associated with those groups of people, and unfortunately one of the parents for the little bit, who was the one that I knew, has passed away. So like, I can't even kind of be nosy, me like, hey, how is that little person doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it bothers me when I think about it, and be like,
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that they're having a happy, healthy growing up.
Yeah.
And I can't confidently say that.
Mm-hmm.
And it bugs the ever living shit out of me as an adult,
Mm-hmm.
as a parent, as,
Yeah.
you know,
As a light worker.
you know, er, um, Maria, I don't know
Yeah.
if you ran
Yeah.
into that with any of your,
Yes.
your littles, their friends and stuff when they would come over.
Well, it, it's not so much the children that I have done distant healing to, but I did have a client. Um, everything just went downhill to the point that this person didn't even want to go outside, only to go to the
Oh,
doctor. That's how bad it was. And her sister hired me, and she said, "What do you need?" I said, "All I need to know is her name and her birth date. It would be possible, her age, and where she lived, the city and state." She said, "Okay." So I gave her. Um, she was. It got to the point that she couldn't stomach anything but white rice. That's how bad it was.
wow. Yeah.
I don't think, I don't, she's supposed to be on medication, but I don't think she was taking her medicine. She just gave up. And that's what I felt. When I stepped into her energy field, I felt this person gave up, just gave up. And I knew that if I did not do the healing 6 nights straight, it would not be a very good outcome. But in
Right.
the midst of that, I
Yeah.
saw a little girl, and there were certain things that I saw and I picked up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with this. And this was the very first client that I came across that had this trauma. So I talked to her sister because her sister and I knew each other, and I talked to her sister and she said, "You saw that?" I go, "Yes." She
Wow.
go, "No one else in the family saw that. Mom and dad, um, they try to help, but they don't know how to help."
Yeah.
It was actually a neighbor it was a neighbor that
Mm-hmm.
this happened. And I said, okay, I'm gonna have to continue doing the healing on her. So I did about another string of 9 distant healing on her. But it started lifting her. To this day, she is no longer cooped up in the house. She has her voice.
Good.
She
Mm-hmm.
talks to her doctor, not just, whatever medicine. I'll take it if I want to. I don't if I don't. And she's really paying attention, and she's having a full life. And that
Good.
was, compared to the energy field that I stepped into, was really just gave up, and now she's having a full life.
That's
But it
great.
was that
That's great.
it was that trauma. It was that trauma, and I saw everything, and I'm going, I don't know what to do with this. Because sometimes when you do healing, whether it's in person or distant, and especially if you're doing multiple healings on a client, you don't know what is going to be presented to you. And at that time, I wanted to know where the origin of this, where did it happen, and it took me to the childhood.
Ah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I know it. And it's weird. And then other people that have confided in me, everyone handles it differently too. But I think, in my opinion, again, the non-professional, a lot of it has to stem back to when it was revealed, discovered, like when I told my parents how it was handled.
Hmm.
Was it taken seriously, brushed aside? You have a vivid imagination, all of that nonsense. Oh, you're a bad boy. You did something to be ashamed of. I was lucky,
Yeah.
you know?
You were lucky, and this
Yeah.
client of mine
Yeah.
was not so, because she did not know how to. I don't even think she said anything to the
Okay.
to her parents or to adults. I think she had carried the burden of being ashamed that she did
Yeah.
something wrong.
Well, you know what, too, Maria, to your point, even years later, even though it was handled right, and everything, do you still have that stigma up here a little bit ago of not did anything wrong? Like I said, I was 7, I was asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But the ashamed part,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you
Yeah.
know, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's there. It still comes and goes, and it may always, you know. Um, I think we all just learn how to handle it, cope with it in our own different way better,
Hmm.
you know. Um, I never went down the self-medication route or anything like that, you know. But everyone handles it differently too. But the big
Yeah.
thing, again, to your point there, guys, too, back in my day, way back when, um, we didn't have the resources you could go to.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It was all up to our parents, and my parents were on it.
Well, I'm glad your parents were supportive of you, were willing to listen, and that
Hmm.
believed you,
Yeah.
and took immediate action. And kudos to his parents who were like, all right, are you okay? What can we do? And the constant checking in to make sure you were still doing okay. And when I say okay, I'm like as well
Yeah.
as you
Yeah.
could have been, you
Yeah.
know?
And you know what? But to your point too, Melissa, his parents, even though they were all very, very close with my parents, at times, and this is me younger, they always felt close to me, which is fine, but almost at times a little bit too close. And I don't mean anything
Mm-hmm.
weird, but like
Mm-hmm.
protective, like they, and this is going to sound weird, were blaming themselves for his behavior,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
That's why
And
I kind of asked in the beginning if there wasn't some suspicions of him being inappropriate with other small children, small boys.
not that I know of. Now, I do know this, and this is going to sound weird. I mean, this guy got kids all over the place. So was there a hint of promiscuity out there and something? Yeah. But I
Mhm.
don't know about if there's anything else with other males. I really don't. You know, I just don't. Um, and I will tell you this, Melissa, you may be doing some editing here because this is not live. Yes, it is, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going
It's
to say
like,
anything. No, I'm not going to say it then. No, never mind. I just realized that again. No, no. Let's just say this, and this is me being the anger every now and then. When that person was in prison, it just helped me say, you know what? I hope you get yours. And that's all I'm going to say.
hmm
mhm.
I would be thinking the same thing.
Yeah. And
And
I'm not going to get into specifics, of course, but yeah, um, because every now and then, you know, the anger would come up, things like that
mhm.
too. And it's one of those things. And he did try, this is weird too, did try to come through to me once that I recall after he died. And I would not let him.
Like the nerve. I don't need or
Mhm.
want your apology.
Uh-huh. Do not
Yeah.
look at me to ease your mind and your soul so you can rest in peace because that ain't happening, you so and so.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah.
You know? Now, maybe that's wrong of me, whatever, think what you will. But, mm-hmm.
No,
I
you're human. You're
listen.
human. You have
Yeah.
Yeah,
every right. Yeah, you're human. Even though we are in the path of being healers, we're still
yeah,
human.
yeah. You know, but again, it was like two, and Melissa, you or Maria, one of you two ladies said this too. Something like this, in my opinion, we're always healing ourselves. You know,
Hmm.
that could be someone who has the unfortunate issue of PTSD from military or a bad accident, or someone who died in their arms too. We're all healing constantly. I just think we learn how to cope with it in a different level.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
I I
you
do
know.
I do think the traumatic experiences we have also teach us grace, acceptance, and being able to help others who go through the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
So, it's like your clients that come in and they're like, I read about this in your book. Like, I had something similar and maybe I'm not dealing with it so well. Like, help.
Well, yeah, and on a few occasions too, and again, other guys, I don't know if they're my age or younger, who said the similar thing happened through via a family member too. And oh, can they get help or how do you get over it too? You know, and it's a very private conversation. You
Mhm.
know, and I explained just what I told you about the family, but again, there are the resources out there to teach you how to handle it too. And if some people don't want to do it, the very least I suggest is some sort of an energy work, like the Reiki, not as a healing, but as a coping.
Hmm.
You know, I do say that too, because
Yeah.
believe it or not, guys, there's more out there than you would think that I've learned.
I feel like every time you turn a corner in the healing path, there is something new to
Yeah.
learn, something new to
Mhm.
be like, oh, well, we got this now, put that in the toolbox. Or like, how does this new thing work with this over here? And can they work
Yeah.
together? And
Yeah.
that's why I personally don't teach classes because I'm like, I don't feel like I am a complete master in any one single thing to, hand that off. I'm like, just hang around
Yeah.
and watch what I do, ask questions. But I'm like, this is what I do.
Well, we're all learning, yeah. And again, and the three of us have talked about this many times. Even though we're all relatively veterans, guys, we can all learn from each other every day
No, yeah.
about
Oh, yeah.
something, too. You
Hmm.
know. But anyone out there listening, if you have any doubt, please don't think you're going on this alone. Whatever, guys, ladies, whatever. Okay. You
Yeah,
didn't do anything to deserve it.
you sharing
Yeah.
your story points out a very important aspect that men and young boys,
Yeah.
this happens to them too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and not to negate anything that any lady, woman, little girl might be going
Right.
through, but
Right.
you know, it happens for guys too. So it is just as traumatic.
Well,
It's just as important.
let's just touch on this briefly, ladies. It happened in Youngstown not too long ago.
Mhm.
It was on the news.
Hmm.
Okay. It was out there too as well. And I remember that and I'm thinking, those poor kids, they're all teenagers.
Mhm.
Not only do they have the hazing, the razzing, whatever, but how are they going to handle that the rest of their lives? They're adults. Are their names out there? College, whatever. You know what I'm saying? At least with me, I was a kid. You know,
Yeah.
no one knew. These poor people, it's out there.
It's on the news. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, get the help. Um, and we all need various levels of help and treatment.
Hmm.
Okay. Whether it's the counseling, the energy work, a medication, or a combination of all of them.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
please, here's an important time to make the disclaimer, like none of us are doctors. We cannot prescribe, diagnose
Yeah.
anything of the sort, and nor are
Mhm.
we going to tell you to quit going to therapy, seeking medical
Yes.
help and advice for energy work. Energy work complements, you know,
Mhm.
Yeah.
traditional
Yeah.
medicine.
And for
Yeah.
me, yes. And that is how, to your point, Melissa, none of us are physicians or medical professionals. It helped me. Now, this is my personal thing, cut, release, things like that, And because of that, and then talking to various people over the years, such as the two of you, you learn when you see something too, like, and it starts to bubble up.
Mhm.
I take the deep breath, and there's my psychic sword, and I cut it,
Hmm.
Yeah.
not to let it go,
Yeah.
or the proverbial shake it off. Now, one thing I don't know if anyone listening knows about this, I'm also a massage therapist. I can pick up on something like that when I have a massage client. Okay. Is it rough? Yeah, kinda. But you also learn how to comfort whatever, and the proverbial there I am again, armor and shake it off, because being empathic, as the two of you are as well, I can't allow myself to pick that up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
Melissa, you're right. It complements. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Now, if any of our friends who are joining us live, if you have any questions on the topic, be it for Greg, how he,
Mhm.
handled and got through and is still
Right.
getting through, now is the time to ask, because we've all had long days. And Greg, you and I have really long days tomorrow.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, but it's going to
Yeah.
be interesting in Sandusky. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then two, Melissa, Maria, two out there too. Anyone who sees me like a goddess elite, if I have the time, because I know I'm usually busy, you can pull me aside. I stress confidentiality.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, but no, there is some sort of help out there, whatever. You don't have to go it alone. And now there is more than there was even 10 years ago, more help,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, you
Yeah.
know.
And I think I'm going to make a point in the show notes for when this episode goes live for the podcast, like to look up some of the websites and,
There you
the
go.
helpline numbers and have those in the show
Hmm.
notes for people. Um,
Yeah. And
'Cause
also too, Melissa, I want to stress too, and I don't, this too many times, this is going to sound weird. PTSD, they associate with just people in the armed services, which is extremely unfortunate. It can
Mhm.
happen in other aspects of life, like in this sort of situation.
Mhm.
Okay. It can still happen.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, you wake up in the night screaming, like when my wife woke me up, I was, um, yelling that person's name.
Mhm.
It can still there, and it creeps in when you least expect it, because you still get a trigger like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Jenny says, Greg, you would be amazing as a big brother to the kids we have in agency custody.
Hey, Jenny. Yeah. Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. Jenny is a friend. She is in social work.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenny, since you know Greg, I don't know if you two talk outside of work. Maybe
Okay.
she's got some good, like national numbers, some good resources
Oh.
that we can put in the show notes for
Mm-hmm.
everybody, to make sure we have the best available information for everyone.
Yeah, she might. Yeah, Jenny might because she's a social worker.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if anybody else has some questions or comments, now's the time. Um,
Melissa, can I just say something out there to the guys?
sure.
Guys, it's very important to lose the bravado. Okay, you'll feel it when you're alone. You may feel it with somebody else. It can affect every aspect of your life, and I mean every aspect of your life too. It's like it's some sort of a support group. And I mean it. There have been guys that have come up to me who have read the book and know me and have said something too. Don't think you have to bury it or, for God forbid, self medicate.
Yeah.
That can only lead to more problems, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's just putting a really, really bad band-aid on the problem and doesn't fix anything. And that
Yeah.
band-aid always slips and ends up coming off.
Boy, doesn't it? Yeah.
And not in the most opportune times either.
No.
Not when you want it to. So
Yeah. But no, to your point, Melissa, too, none of us are physicians, medical professionals. It is a compliment. The Reiki, the energy work, any of the shamanic healing, Melissa, or shamanic work. I can't even talk.
shamanic.
Shamanic work. Thank you. Thank you. Maria, are you a shaman as well?
Yes.
I thought so, but I wasn't sure there too. The thing is, though, to seek help, and everyone, it's never too late. It is never too late.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks for joining, Greg.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you. Very difficult topic. And I'll say it one last time. If anyone sees me out, you can approach. It stays confidential, or like when I'm in the store, pull me aside, whatever. It stays confidential.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It can be very, I don't know what the right word is to use. Upsetting, unsettling. How's that?
Yeah. And normally when you're in the store, Greg, you have one of our rooms. So if somebody needs to, speak with you in private in between readings, that you just into a room. Otherwise, we find the store's a decent size. We can always squirrel you away off in a corner, away from everybody else.
Yeah.
You can always go outside in the back door.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very true. And I do keep things confidential, guys. And as you know, being a reader, I know, Maria, you too, Melissa, you as well. I treat this like HIPAA.
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a first of all, for people, it's a hard, sometimes if it's the first time that they're coming to the store or coming to a reader, coming to an energy worker, it's hard because they don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So I try to make chit chat, and calm them down. I'm actually giving my energy to them to calm them down. So they feel a little bit more relaxed, But I also want to stress the fact that when I had that client and I picked up what happened in that person's childhood, I didn't expect it, nor was I looking for it. It was something that Spirit presented to me so I could understand what kind of healing I needed to do for this individual.
Yeah.
And it's to this day, I keep that. It is confidential. No one else besides her sister and I who have talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
That she knows that outside of the family, I know about it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And one thing too, to your point, ladies, and everyone out there too, you guys know me out there as Gregory Nicholas. Okay, remember that is not my real name. Okay. Things I keep my other name, my real name, very private, very confidential. and that may stem back to this whole thing too, being private. Some things I believe we all have to keep private and within the family.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
But
It
no.
also goes with professional readings, right? Because
Oh.
there's
Yeah.
been a handful
Yep.
of, my readers that have had some overzealous fans.
Yeah.
And you guys need to stay safe,
Yes.
even from overzealous fans. So
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
newbies
Yeah.
coming up through the ranks that are asking questions, one of the first things I say is get your reverend to protect you, that way.
Yes.
And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
and do not read under your real name.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
of your socials are under a reader name. Keep your private life private.
Yeah, in private, it's
Mhm.
like to your point, and both of you ladies have met my wife, but you will never see her on that Facebook page
Mm-hmm.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and if she's at an event, sometimes I introduce her, sometimes I don't. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, guys, please, there is help to be sad. Don't think you have to go through it alone. Again, I was extremely fortunate, and I still am. But it's not a burden that you have to carry of shame or anything like that. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Well, thanks for joining Greg and
my
sharing your
pleasure.
story on a very heavy and serious
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah.
Um,
And if we ever need to revisit Melissa, Maria, please let me know. We can at any time. And hey, look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Melissa. Maria, are you there tomorrow?
Yes, I am.
Oh, my day shall be made.
no. Oh, now he's all sucking up here, wanting some extra.
Yeah.
What are you after, Greg? What do you want? You want the
Yeah,
bigger
nothing yet. How's that? I'm just racking them up for future
you,
when I do something. Yeah.
your
I
get
have
out
your
of jail card.
tiki, Greg.
What's that?
I have your tiki.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. But again, anyone needs anything, Melissa can get a hold of me. I am on Facebook. Um, although I will say this, I prefer not to do this over texting or anything like that. It's just a thing. This is my suspicion. I want to make sure who you are and I'm talking to is really who you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, thank you again. I look forward to seeing you ladies tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining, everybody. We hope you can catch our next episode of the Healer's Corner. And if you can join us live on Tuesdays, our normal time at 7 p.m., please feel free to join us and join the conversation. But have a great night, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye. There we are.